Okay, we have created up to this far. Now it's time to propagate into another part. That means we'll be now concentrating into this bottom area. Let's proceed. All we are now going to do, we will be creating a separate container fluid, and inside, in the first case, we are preparing this particular box with a border here. We will be creating this one. Now let's create all those classes, those are needed. So we are going to use them together in the first place. So here I am preparing So we have created these two classes here, this banner disclaimer and disclaimer. This is the first case. Now all we need to do, we need to copy this one, and let's get back to our custom style sheet, and here all we are now going to do, okay, there it goes. There is a margin top of 20 pixels. We have provided it over here. Let's check this thing with another particular property such as height. For say we are providing a 200 pixels height. This is just for a checking purpose. Get back into a project and reload, and now we can see that it is back in order. So there's absolutely no particular gapping between these two individual content wrapper. All we need to do, we need to adjust this 15 pixels padding from both the ends, from the extreme left and from the extreme right. This is the main purpose. So this is what we are going to do now. We are providing a margin of 0 pixels, 15 pixels from both the end. Now all we are going to do, we are going to reload, and we can see that this content is now back into action. It is practically now almost appears like amalgamating with the above contents, and all of them appearing like a single individual content over here. Now all we need to do, we need to delete this height thing, and now inside this index.html, inside this call lg12, all we are now going to do, first of all, let's create this, and let's copy this disclaimer part, get back to custom style sheet, and here paste it. Let's create the border part. Now we need to check on with this border color. There it goes. So this is the border color, and we need to get back to our project, and here we have pasted it. Now if we just get back and reload, we can see that this who can nominate box is now appearing, but there's a little bit of discrepancies here. But the first thing is there's a gap between the above content and the bottom content. So all we now need to do, we need to make this thing adjustable. We need to make adjustments onto it such that it looks like this one. You can see that there's practically no gap in between. We have provided a 0.2 em of padding. So what is the exact cause of this kind of gap over here? Press F12, and if we now make this thing off from this dot slogan holder, we can see that this padding is the actual thing that is making all these differences. So here I have provided padding 10 pixels, which means that there will be a flat padding of 10 pixels from every corner, from the top, from the right, bottom and left, but we do not need that bottom content padding. So what will be the solution? So if we get back here and here, now we can see that it is now practically in action. It is now working well. So this will be the exact amount of padding that should be added to our style sheet, and this is the class name which should be modified. So we are copying it, and we are getting back to our project, pressing Ctrl F, Ctrl V, and there it goes, slogan holder. So all we now need to do, we need to make amendment to this particular part. There it goes, if we now get back into our project, close this dialog box and reload, and now we can see that it is now playing equally well with this template. So it is almost done, but there's another problem. There's the slightest gap from this extreme left part and this extreme right part. Now if we observe here, we can see that this area of working box and this who can nominate box, they are practically lying not in a straight line. Now if we press F12 and if we turn on our code inspector, this is the containing wrapper here. So if we click onto it, we can see that this banner disclaimer, it is having a margin 0 15 pixels, but if you turn it off, then you can see that it is now practically leaving no particular gap from the left and from the right part. So what is the alternate path? Now if we just write here as padding left, it is now practically starting from the extreme left. So all we now need to do, we need to change this value to 10 pixels. Now it is relatively okay. In the second case, we are writing here padding right in the same manner, and if we place here 10 pixels, this will be the same outcome. So both these parts, those are now aligning into a straight line from the sides. So all we now need to do, we need to make this amendment here into this banner disclaimer part. Just copy it and get back to your project, and you can see that this is the banner disclaimer. Get back and reload, and you can see now that it is working well here. There's absolutely no indentation from the above content. Now we have done up to this for now. We need to make this thing into a centrally text alignment. So that is why we are getting back to our project, and into this disclaimer part we have created practically this h3 tag. We need to get back to custom style sheet.css, and here text align, it should be into the central position. Reload, there it goes. Now if we look here, we can see that who can nominate, and there's another line here. Instead of making this thing text alignment center into this h3 tag, all we can do, we can get back to disclaimer class, and here we can create it if we need to make some modifications. So that is why we are just creating these individual classes. We are defining these general selectors here, but there's no need to enter anything here right now. Now get back to index.html and just beneath this h3 tag. So there it goes. Now press Ctrl S and get back to your project and reload. And here you can see that this line is now added. There's absolutely no problem with it. Now if we just press Ctrl Shift M, get back to the mobile responsive view, and you can see that this box has been created over here and it is visible well. Now let's make it a 768 pixel device display width, and we can see that it is working well here too. So this is a thing. Now we have created up to this. In the last phase, all we are now going to do, we are now going to create this particular area which seems to be a twin brother of this above part. So in the first place, all we can do, we have created in this sense a particular class here, so that is why there shouldn't be any problem. In the first place, all we are now going to do, we are copying and pasting all those things, those we have done over here in the previous place. So that is why we are getting back here into this index.html. We are copying it, and beneath this banner disclaimer, we are now pasting it. Now if we press Ctrl S and get back to our project and reload, what are we seeing now? So here comes the problem. We cannot make any kind of adjustment here if we just copy and paste our previous coding here. So that is why we need to make some additional amendments, such as if we just look into our template, we can see that from this bottom part there's absolutely no margin here, no case of margin over here is being observed, but in case of our coding we can see that yes, there is a margin. So we need to diminish this particular gap from this above box of who can nominate. How to do it? Let's get back to our project. Now we have used the same class here. All those classes, those are same, so the properties will be the same in each and every cases. we are going to the root folder and it is the slogan holder. Now if we get back to custom style sheet.css and here slogan holder, now we can see that this margin top is 10 pixels, but this padding is 10 pixels, 10 pixels, 0, 10 pixels. Now once again, let's get back to our project, pressing F12. That means we are now enabling the code inspector. Margin top is 0 pixels, so there is nothing to change here into this particular property of margin top. Now let's uncheck the box of padding. And what we can see here, the gap is practically diminished into this particular segment, but on the other hand the gap from the extreme left and from the extreme right, those are also diminished. Those are practically now getting the whole width, and the same thing goes here. So this is the exact place where changes should be done. Copy this one, get back, paste it here, make it 1 1, paste it here, slogan holder, this is practically having this value, but in case of slogan holder 1 1, padding from the top position will be 0 10 pixels, 0 10 pixels. The last two parameters could be easily avoided. Now all we are going to do, we can see that this is the slogan holder part and this is the dot slogan holder 1 1. Copy this, paste it here. So both of them will be having this property except this padding thing. We have created here slogan holder 1 1. Now we will be creating here a slogan holder class. There it goes. So what we have here, we are writing both these properties, those are common, into a particular part, into a single line, and we are rewriting the point which is different here. The padding parameters, those are practically different, so we are now rewriting it over here. And now all we are going to do, we are going back to index.html. All we are now going to do, we are going to the bottom of this page where the last slogan holder was used. There it goes. Let's first check. Okay, this one is the last one. Now all we are going to do, we are using this slogan holder 1 1 class here. Reload, and now we can see that the coding is now in accordance to this template. So this is how you'll have to build up your project. You have to calculate, you have to investigate what the things should be, and the above of all you need to do, you need to make more experiments with it. So this is it for today's tutorial. In the next tutorial we are going to concentrate into creating the bootstrap accordion that is being used here, and in this essence we will be using font awesome icon or fa icons into our project. So that's all for today's tutorial. Hope you guys have liked this tutorial. If you guys have liked this tutorial, then do not hesitate to hit that red subscribe button down below. Hope to see you guys in our next tutorial. Till then, bye.